Breaking news. Xiao Zhan cries on live TV. I once loved Wangabore, but now he's just a memory. It was supposed to be a regular interview, a quick segment to promote Xiao Zhan's latest drama, a polished appearance to calm fans amid swirling rumors. But what unfolded on live television has since shattered the internet, rocked fandoms to their core, and left millions holding their breath. Sitting under the harsh studio lights, dressed in a simple white shirt and black trousers, Xiao Zhan looked calm, until he didn't. No one was prepared for the storm that would erupt mid-broadcast. His voice broke. His hand trembled. And then, with millions watching across the globe, he whispered the words that would become a tsunami of heartbreak online. I once loved Wangabore, but now he's just a memory. The moment everything fell apart. It was during the third segment of the show, when the host casually brought up past co-stars, asking Xiao Zhan how he managed to maintain friendships despite fame. As the name Wangabore slipped into the conversation, a visible shift happened. Xiao Zhan paused. The silence stretched. A flicker of pain crossed his eyes. He was never just a co-star, Xiao Zhan finally said, voice low. He was my home, for a while. A beat. A breath. But you can't live in a place that keeps burning you. That's when it started. The first tear. The quiver in his voice. The cameras stayed rolling. Behind the tears, what really happened? To fans who followed Xiao Zhan and Wangabore's story, this wasn't just a shock, it was a culmination of years of speculation, hints, heartbreaks, and near reconciliations. From their viral chemistry in The Untamed, to being caught attending private dinners, to disappearing from each other's lives entirely, this relationship has haunted the entertainment industry. The on-screen magic was real, and the off-screen energy unmistakable. But something went wrong. Very wrong. Back in 2024, rumors spiraled after Wangabore was seen holding Tan Songyan's hand in a hospital corridor, while Xiao Zhan sat alone in a waiting room, clearly shaken. That moment sparked a media frenzy. But neither Wangabore nor Xiao Zhan commented, until now. And now, everything makes sense. He didn't fight for us. I waited for him to say it wasn't real, Xiao Zhan confessed live. I waited for him to chase after me. He didn't. His voice cracked. I watched him walk away from everything we built. Like it never mattered. According to insiders, Xiao Zhan had tried reaching out multiple times after the Tan Songyan incident. But Wangabore, torn between protecting his public image, personal confusion, and the growing distance, never responded. The silence grew heavy. He's not the villain, Xiao Zhan said. Maybe I'm not the victim either. We were just too scared. Of ourselves. Of the world. Then came the line that shattered hearts across the globe. I once loved him with everything I had. But now, he's just a memory I can't touch without bleeding. Social media explodes. Within minutes of the broadcast, the hashtag #ShiaoZhanLive breakdown trended worldwide. Fans flooded social media with mixed emotions, sorrow, confusion, anger, and love. Fan pages that had once gone dormant during their falling out lit up with edits, quotes, and pleas for reconciliation. Some fans, however, took a more defensive stance, especially loyal Wangabore supporters who believed there was more to the story. He must have been hurting too, one wrote. You can't just blame Wangabore. What if he was protecting Xiao Zhan in his own way? But others pointed out that Wangabore had been seen several times with Tan Songyan, even after Xiao Zhan's hospital stay. Some labeled it betrayal. Others called it survival. The unseen clip. Later that evening, a behind-the-scenes clip leaked from the studio's internal servers. It showed Xiao Zhan collapsed on the dressing room floor after the broadcast, clutching a photo strip, 3 black and white shots of him, and Wangabore laughing, taken during a secret trip to Jeju Island in 2023. He was crying. whispering something over and over. Why didn't you choose us? The clip has since been removed from all platforms by management, but not before being saved and reposted by thousands. The internet refuses to forget. Yibo's response. As of now, Wangabore has made no public statement. But sources close to his team claim he was watching the interview live, and that he reportedly locked himself in his room immediately afterward. A close friend allegedly shared that Yibo has been spiraling quietly for months, especially after Xiao Zhan stopped replying to his private messages. He still has Zhan's number saved as My Star, the friend claimed. He never changed it. Could the silence from Wangabore be guilt? Or perhaps fear of making things worse? Whatever the truth, fans are now demanding clarity. Insiders speak out. Several insiders from both camps have started speaking out anonymously. One stylist recalled a moment backstage last winter. Xiao Zhan had just walked off a runway and his first question was, "Is he here?" No one had to ask who he was. Another shared that the last time both stars were in the same building, during a private charity gala, they deliberately sat on opposite ends. But Xiao Zhan was spotted wiping his eyes after Wangabore performed a song they once danced to together. That song, Stay With Me. A history built on unspoken words. Their connection goes back nearly 5 years, co-stars turned confidants, confidants turned something more. But the deeper they fell, the more dangerous it became. You can't love someone that publicly when the world is watching with knives, Xiao Zhan once told a close friend. But I didn't know how not to. One former assistant revealed that during press tours, the two would often share hotel rooms, not out of necessity, but choice. They'd stay up till 3 a.m., laughing like kids. But when the lights went off, it went quiet. Not because they were sleeping, but because they didn't know how to say what they felt out loud. The future. The aftermath of Xiao Zhan's confession remains uncertain. Will Wangabore step forward and respond? Will this be the spark that reopens communication, or the final nail in the coffin? Xiao Zhan ended the interview with a cryptic, tear-soaked whisper. I don't hate him. I never could. But loving him almost destroyed me. He walked off set without another word. As the camera cut to the stunned host, the world knew something had changed. Not just for Xiao Zhan, but for the millions who had seen themselves in the fragile, beautiful, broken love story between two of China's biggest stars. Final thoughts. What happens when fame meets fear? When love is buried under silence and survival? When two hearts beat for each other but never in sync? Xiao Zhan's tears on live TV weren't just about a breakup. They were about every moment they didn't get to live. Every I love you whispered through a locked phone screen. Every gaze in crowded rooms that said more than 1,000 words. As fans replay the broadcast on loop, hoping for signs, one question echoes through every corner of the internet. Will Wangabore answer? Because sometimes, memories aren't enough. The studio fell silent. Xiao Zhan's tears meant more than words. The moment Xiao Zhan turned away from the camera, the set fell into a deafening silence. No cue cards, no lights adjusted. Just raw silence, punctuated only by the subtle mic static picking up the sound of his heavy breathing. He wiped his face quickly, but it was too late. The nation had seen the glistening trail of tears. And more than that, they had heard the sentence that would forever change everything. I once loved Wangabore, but now he's just a memory. The host, visibly shaken, leaned forward gently. Xiao Zhan, what made you say that today? He looked back at the screen in front of him, where clips from The Untamed were still playing, their smiles, their glances, the way they had once laughed without restraint. His voice cracked as he replied, because I can't pretend anymore. I've carried this weight for years. Just backstage, producers scrambled as a live call came through, Wangabore's team. They didn't want the segment cut. In fact, they urged them to continue. Let him talk, Yibo had said. Let the world know his side. Xiao Zhan went on, his fingers trembling as he held the armrest. I didn't stop loving him the day we broke apart. I stopped loving him the day I realized I was the only one holding on. Flashbacks played across the screen, their last red carpet moment, where Yibo had tried to hold Xiao Zhan's hand, and Xiao had subtly pulled away. The headlines had made it seem cold. But now, the truth was unraveling. There was a time, Xiao Zhan continued, when I would have chosen him over everything, career, family, even myself. But he let me go. Silently. He didn't fight. He didn't chase. The studio crew fought tears. Even the director, who had seen 100 celebrity breakdowns, stood still. And then, unexpectedly, Xiao Zhan reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a ring. The audience gasped. A small silver band, worn smooth from being handled too many times. I carried this every day. For 5 years. Waiting for him to come back, for him to say he was sorry. But today, I'm letting it go. He set it on the table before him. The camera zoomed in, capturing every scratch and every tear that followed. As the show prepared to cut to commercial, Xiao Zhan said one last thing. If you're watching, Yibo, this isn't hate. This is goodbye.